Byzantine, which is, I won't get into the religious thing of it. It's the same thing, but we refer to it as the Byzantine Church. That is where Grandma was a member of. That's where just about everybody's laid to rest from our family that's in Pittsburgh. Somerset, once again, whole bunch of urines in Somerset. Um, I'm going to have to go to Google View and check out 1624 Falk Ave. That should be interesting. Maybe I'll include that in this video. So that's definitely Grandpap's mother there, and John Lukac, not Lucas. It's been listed again with the Czech, the Slovaks changing their names. Bizarre. 1930 census. We went over that. Yeah, we went over this. Listed as Slovakia. Michael W. Huronson, both mother and father Slovakia. Michael Tomko, or Topko, whatever. So, we'll update those. John Lukac, or Lucas, urine. We already know that's Slovakia, not the Czech Republic. This is incorrect. It's basing it on my family tree stuff. They had a bunch of Grandpa had a bunch of brothers and sisters. Yeah, we saw this. Oh, this is this for the wife. I don't have his death certificate. We saw this. This is definitely his headstone. You'll notice it's the same as his wife's, same cut, and it's right next to each other. I went ahead and looked up the location of it, and it's listed as Lukac, so that's probably that was probably his original name back in Slovakia. And the John and the changing to Lucas, all that probably happened starting on the boat over. And we'll update the generations that preceded him. All right. This is from another person I was doing genealogy on the Mikkel/Kaminska family. Of interest here, Mary Mikkel. 1910 census, Mary Mickle. We have Michael this time, and his wife Mary Michael, Bertha Michael. Now, is that Aunt Bertha? I remember Aunt Bertha with that thing on her leg. I'm just wondering, is that Aunt Bertha? I mean, is she really? I guess she really was a relative. I thought she was like, that was honorary aunt, whatever. But that would be an aunt from mom's side. Who was Aunt Bertha? Is that Aunt Bertha? Is this Aunt Bertha here? But that's all right. So we have daughter Bertha. We have John Michael, Mary Michael, who we see here. Sophia with that strange crossed out, and Esther Michael. That's Grandma before she became a Huron or urine, whatever. Everything listed as Austria. Ooh, this is interesting. Self-native tongue, this time listed as Slavish. Slavish. For both, Michael listed himself as speaking English as a native tongue, which is not correct. She listed Slavish. He listed laborer. And who's that? One of the sons listed as a rapper for W-R-A-P-P-E-R, not R-A-P-P-E-R. Rapper for a glass company. And he was laborer for a mill once again. So yeah, now they list the native tongue as Slavish. S-L-A-V-I-S. Which would make sense because specifically you speak Slovakian, there's no doubt. So that's one of the daughters there. And there's Grandma, Esther Michael. The last name this time is spelled M-I-C-H-E-A-L for the random Michael mystery. All right, now take a look at some of Mom's stuff here. Elizabeth Huron. And I found this from her yearbook. Elizabeth Stephanie Huron. She was president of the Girls Service Club in 11th grade. She was part of the Future Homemakers of America as a senior, so she certainly made a nice home for us. Her nickname, Bets, she wouldn't like that. No Betty, please. Bets. Our vivacious John Merrill Miss. Plans to be an efficient nurse, but at present she enjoys Spanish with Senorita Betts is well known for her famous hairstyles. Her special delight is a black-haired, handsome, brown-eyed favorite, who is wonderful. I don't know about that. Apparently he wasn't wonderful enough. Among her numerous friends are Pat, Jean, Susan, Pauline, Louise, Fanny, and Bob. So, there's Mom's. Boy, she was beautiful. Betts. Alright. Take a look at the directory here. Here it is. Elizabeth S. Huron, student at 1624 Falk Ave. And there's Grandma Esther. They got this wrong. Michael E. Huron, Office Secretary Michael E. Huron, 1624 Falk Ave. I don't know who these people are. Helen and George? I don't know who that is. Oh, this is a different address. 3458 Perrysville Ave. That's different. All right. (1940) census. Michael W. Huron, head of the household. Esther, wife. Mary Ann, Aunt Mary Ann. Elizabeth S. Susan Carol, and Olga Nina. This is before, let's see, Mom was what, 5? This is before Michelle. Let me see. Grandpap listed as attorney. And they don't have native tongue or anything in there. We're totally Americanized by then. That was one full household. There's a lot of kids. So, all right, now I'm going to head over into some of the research I've been doing back in towards the other side of the Atlantic, back into Slovakia. And I'll show you some of that information I pulled out. This is just a snippet. I found a lot of other stuff. You could go down the rabbit hole forever, especially researching the mysterious Micah, Mikkel, whatever, and Mary Kaminska, who listed her native tongue as Polish sometimes, and then other times were Austrian and Czechoslovakian, but it's all Slovak, baby. And that's what I'll get into next. So I'll take a quick break and grab a beer, and then I'll show you the rest of the information I got from the other side on Slovakia. Alright, before I get into the research I'm doing on the Slovakian side, getting into those records, the immigration records and stuff, I pulled up some addresses from the old directories and census of Grandpap's place and Grandma's church, and I thought I'd take a look at them on Google Street View. This is going to be 1624 Falk Avenue, where Grandpap lived with the daughters according to the 1940 census. And that is what it looks like now. Now, that is not the home I remember Grandpap that I visited Grandpap in. It's probably not the same home that I visited Grandpap in. It's probably not the same house that Mom grew up in. I don't think. Probably rebuilt or something, but that is the location where it's Falk Ave. That is the location where Grandpap and Mom and the sisters were in 1940. And down here, we're going to go to the Holy Ghost Byzantine Church, where all the funerals were held. Grandma's, if I can get in there, we'll take a look at that. What I'd like to see is, I don't have the address of where the grandpa's house was with the big white columns in the front. I don't have the address. I actually resorted to looking around on the maps here on the Street View, roaming around this area to try to find it, but to no avail. But anyways, this is the church. I don't know if it's my imagination or what, but I seem to vaguely remember that in 1973 going to Grandma's funeral. I think I was shooting a cap gun at Greg and Jeff or something. Obviously didn't know, what was going on with what the occasion was. But that is the church Grandma went to. Probably mom too. So, if you can give me the address of Grandpa's house where I visited, I don't think it's at Falk Ave. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'd like to take a look at that. So, all right, now we'll move on to the immigration information I looked up for the Urin family coming across from Slovakia. All right, before I get to the Slovakia stuff, I found something kind of interesting that just came through on a marriage license from John Lukács Urin, our great-grandfather. One of his daughters, which would be one of Michael Urin's sisters, one of our great aunts, I guess. This is her marriage license. Let me zoom in here. This is Mary Urin, and she's getting married to Vasco Zevic. He was 22, she was 18. And they list the parents' names. There's John and Susan Urin. That would be our great-grandparents. And this is what's really interesting here. Right. His occupation's a motorman. The groom, he's a motorman. I guess that'd be in the railroad. And this is what's interesting. The witnesses. This time, John, he spelled it Jan, which is the Slovak spelling. It's a European spelling of John. John Urin, and this is fascinating. Susan, our great-grandmother, has an X. You'll notice her mark. Now, I don't know. I don't know if somebody put an X there and said that's where you sign. But why would they put her mark, an X? Well, maybe she couldn't write. She was illiterate. I don't know. But that's what it says. The last time I've seen something like that was like in some Old West movie or something. X marks your spot there. Sign with an X. But that's new. And this John Jan. So I'm having trouble finding the actual ship manifests of them coming over. And it's probably due to the bizarre spellings and so forth, but that's what I'm working on now. This marriage was in 1908, and we have an X, her mark, so I thought that was kind of cool. Alright, it seems that I have a new update with regarding Mike Mickle when he came across and first entered into America. This is document from a ship entering Castle Garden, which is the entry point before Ellis Island. Ellis Island wasn't even around at this time. That wasn't until 1890 something, so he's coming before that. And there it is, M. Michel, Michel, in this spelling. And as far as I can tell, it says 10 years of age. He's traveling with a W. Michel, that's what those quotes are, who's 12. So I don't know if they're. It says on the document that was curated he was 12, but it says here 10. I don't know if it's misread it or whatever. Traveling with somebody who's 12 with the same last name, W. Michel. I assume they're traveling with this adult here who's 32. I can't make out the last name there at all, but this is how they kept those records. I mean, I've put more detail and effort into making a grocery list than this. They just write it out on a piece of paper. Somebody from the ship company, he was traveling steerage class, apparently. Steerage over here. I'm sure that was very comfortable. But these are all the people starting a new life before cell phones, before anything like that. Just show up when you're 10 or 12 years of age. I don't know if he's traveling alone. I can't imagine traveling alone that age with, I don't know if that's a brother or sister, W. Michel, who's 12 years of age, and they're probably traveling with this person here, which I can't make out the last name. But that's pretty interesting. I'll get the details on the ship name and where it came in, maybe a picture of the ship and so forth, and I'll update you as soon as I find that. All right. The name of the ship that Mike Michel was transported on when he was 10 or 12 years of age. It lists here as 12 years of age, but it looked like 10 on that manifest. The name of it was the Circassia. And that arrived in New York October 25th of 1882. It departed, and it listed Mike Michel's ethnicity and nationality as Austrian, which is, we know, is the go-to ethnicity for Slovaks. And it departed from Glasgow, Scotland, and Moville, Ireland. So, wow. What a trip that must have been. When you're like 10 or 12 years of age,